U.S. rock and roll icon Duane Eddy passed away at the age of 86. The artist, well known for his twangy guitar style, rose to fame with instrumentals like Rebel Rouser and had a major influence on well-known musicians like George Harrison of the Beatles. According to his wife, Dide Abbate, he passed away on Tuesday from cancer at the Williamson Health facility in Franklin, Tennessee. Born in Corning, New York, on April 26, 1938, Eddy took up guitar playing at the age of 5. When he was 13, his family relocated to Arizona, where he got to know local DJ Lee Hazelwood. The two would go on to have a long and successful relationship. In 1955, Eddy made his first recordings as Dwayne and Jimmy with Jimmy Delbridge. 3 years later, Movin' and Groovin' became his first hit as a solo artist to chart. The game would shift with his following single, which included Eddy's trademark late 1950s Gretsch 6120 by Chet Atkins. Co-written by Eddy and Hazelwood, Rebel Rouser was classic twang, played low with lots of reverb and instantly identifiable. The label listed it as Rebel Rouser. The song was a Hot 100 smash. Precisely when the top 5 included the reverb-heavy Endless Sleep by Jody Reynolds. Al Casey, who played piano on Rebel Rouser and was a member of Eddy's backup group The Rebels, contributed guitar work to it. At the height of his fame, the Rebels frequently provided Eddy with backing during the pop chart's instrumental dominance. A number of its members, such as Steve Douglas, Jim Horn, and Larry Knechtel, later joined the legendary Los Angeles session group The Wrecking Crew. Through 1963, Eddy would follow up Rebel Rouser with 24 more chart songs, including 40 Miles of Bad Road and another U.S. top 10 hit, Because They're Young, which was the title song of the 1960 movie starring Dick Clark, host of American Bandstand. Frontman for Creedence Fogarty, known for his swampy guitar style and a fierce advocate for Eddy's induction into the Rock Hall, referred to him as the front guy, the first rock and roll guitar god at one point. In the UK, where 10 of Eddy's songs reached the top 10, Because They're Young peaked at number 2, and Shazam! Another movie track, reached number 4. Eddy enjoyed greater chart success there. Peter Gunn, the TV show theme tune whose riff would later influence guitar rock, was another of his Brit smashes. Members of the Sharps, who would go on to have a memorable, if modest, 1962 success with Pop O Mau Mau, as the Rivingtons, contributed handclaps and rebel yell-like whoops on the tune. For his 6-string contributions to Art of Noise's wild 1986 rendition of Peter Gunn, he was awarded a Grammy for Best Rock Instrumental. A 1992 Grammy nomination for Best Rock Instrumental went to Eddy as well, thanks to his contribution to the Doc Watson song Thunder Road/Sugarfoot Rag. Since Eddy impacted so many of the young British guitarists who would go on to dominate the second half of the 1960s, 5 of his albums also made it into the UK top 10. Have Twangy Guitar Will Travel, his debut album released in the United States, peaked at number 5 on the Billboard 200, but his following releases fell short of the top 10. His 1960 compilation album $1 Million Worth of Twang peaked at number 11 on the U.S. charts. 1993 saw the publication of Twang Tang, the Duane Eddy Anthology, a box set. I stayed pretty much true to my unique voice, which people could recognize. In a 1986 interview with the Associated Press, he said, "I just sell the best. I'm not one of the best technical players by any means. A lot of guys have better guitar skills than I do. I can't understand a lot of that. However, some of it doesn't sound like what I want the guitar to produce." After the 1960s, Eddy hardly sometimes recorded. The Ventures 2002 CD Twangin' Guitar contained a few of his songs. During its peak, the renowned instrumental guitar trio covered several of his compositions, including Rebel Rouser. In addition to Because They're Young, Eddy starred in a number of 1960s films, such as A Thunder of Drums, The Wild Westerners, and The Savage Seven, thanks to his matinee idol good looks. Eddy leaves behind 4 children, 5 granddaughters, and 9 great-grandchildren in addition to his spouse. Eddy created a unique sound by recording his boisterous rhythms, hand claps, and backing hollers. He sold over 100 million records globally and perfected the idea that a guitar's bottom strings sound better on tape than its high ones. I stayed largely true to my unique voice, which people could recognize. In a 1986 interview with the Associated Press, he said, "I just sell the best. I'm not one of the best technical players by any means. A lot of guys have better guitar skills than I do. I can't understand a lot of that. However, some of it doesn't sound like what I want the guitar to produce." From his debut album, Have Twangy Guitar Will Travel, until his box set Twang Tang, the Duane Eddy anthology, released in 1993, Twang characterized Eddy's sound. "It's a ridiculous moniker for a non-silly object," Eddy stated to the AP in 1993. "But it's been haunting me for 35 years, so it has sentimental value at least." In 1994, he was admitted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Over 50 albums were recorded by Eddy, some of which were reissued. From the 1980s on, he worked less, living off my royalties, as he put it in 1986. Eddy recorded with both Paul McCartney and Harrison, who were both fans of his during their time as the Beatles. In 1987, he performed on both McCartney's Rockestra theme and Harrison's self-titled comeback album featuring Eddy.